Hello, all you beautiful people. You are in for a treat today, once again. Today I am going to be making some codfish fritters or codfish cakes, depending on, how you prefer to refer to these. But either way, these are very delicious. They're great as a breakfast item and also as a snack. But it's more popularly used as a breakfast food. So for this recipe, you're going to need the following. You're going to need some chopped tomato, which I have here, some chopped onion, preferably white onion, and some chopped bell peppers. I'm using yellow and red. Really doesn't matter what color it is. And you're going to need a stalk or two of scallion, as well as some thyme and some Scotch bonnet pepper, okay? So here I've chopped up these ingredients already. The only thing I have to do is chop up my scallion, which I will do now. Be very careful if you're using a sharp knife. Okay, I wouldn't want you to cut your finger off. We do not want that, okay? So I'm just going to toss that right there till I'm ready to put everything in my mixing bowl. Alright, and as I mentioned, the thyme, we're also going to need that. But I'll come back to that in a second once we get to the mixing portion of the video. So you also want to be careful with the Scotch bonnet. It's very hot, okay? I would not advise you to use a whole piece of Scotch bonnet, and be careful not to get the seeds in there. All right, if you can't tolerate heat, you definitely don't want any Scotch bonnet seeds getting into this. So the main components of this recipe that we're going to need, that's going to give this all of the wonderful flavor, is our codfish. So you should be able to find this at your local grocery store, supermarket. You want to boil this in hot water, okay? I've already done that. And you want to boil it for a good 10 to 15 minutes. Make sure you wash the saltfish, the codfish, before you boil it, okay? Wash off all of the excess salt off of it. So I've already done all of that. And now I've removed the codfish from the boiling hot water. It's nice and soft and tender to the touch right now. All that I need to do is remove the skin, which I'm going to do right now. You can use a knife, a fork, a spoon. As a matter of fact, let me do that. I'm going to switch to the spoon and just turn the spoon like this. And just scoop the skin right off of it. Alright, and you want to remove the bones as well. I'm just going to put that in my mixing bowl right over there. Take the skin off this other piece. Might give you a little bit of struggle at times, but should be fairly easy to get off once you get a good grip on it. Alright, see? And I'm going to put that in my mixing bowl. And we have, some bits and pieces of fish left behind on the skin here. So I'm just scraping that off. We want to get all of the fish that we can off of this. Alright. So there's the skin, which I've removed. Toss that to the side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this up into small pieces, into fish flakes basically. That's how I like to refer to it, okay? Make sure your hands are nice and clean before you get into the kitchen and start, getting your hands all touchy-feely with the food. I have already done that. FYI. Cleanliness is very important in the kitchen, especially if if other people besides yourself are going to be consuming the food. You don't want anyone getting sick. Alright. Here's a bone. I'm going to throw that away. one or two bones might get away from you. Not a big deal. You know, as you're eating the fritters, you know, just spit the bones out. Not a big deal. But, you know, try to remove as many as you can. Especially, you know, if kids or elder senior citizens, you know, certain vulnerable populations are going to be eating this. You really don't want anyone choking on a bone. We want everyone to just enjoy this nice food that we've prepared for them. And that's that. Alright, so I'm contemplating if I should use all of this fish. I'm only preparing this for myself right now, so I don't want to make too much. Here's another bone. Okay. Alright. This is a good amount. Okay, that's how much codfish I've wound up with, and that's what you want, nice flakes of fish broken up like this. Alright, so now we're gonna get ready to mix everything together. Give me a moment, let me wash the fish off my hands. Alright. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, sorry, there's just another bone here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate what I have here. First thing is I'm going to take my thyme, and I'm just gonna slide the skin, sorry, not the skin, the leaves off of the thyme stick. Okay, I'm not gonna cook this obviously with the stem of the thyme. I don't need that, so I'm just removing the leaves as so, and leaving the stem behind. Okay, just drop the leaves right on in there and throw the stick away. And now I'm just gonna add the rest of my ingredients. I have the chopped tomato, toss that in. Have my chopped onion, toss that in. Have my chopped sweet peppers, bell peppers, and my scallion. Looking really nice and colorful, very tropical looking. Alright, I'm just tossing everything together. This may actually be a lot of fritters for just one person, for myself, but that's okay. You know, you can, if there's any left over, you just put them away and you can eat the rest of them the next day. Or eat some more later on. You know, maybe have a pre-bedtime snack, if you will. Alright, so now I'm going to add the flour. I'm going to add some flour to this. I'm using a half cup measure, but I'm really just putting about 1 cup of flour. And to this I'm going to add some water and some powdered seasoning, but let me just incorporate this first. Okay. So you obviously, you know, want to get a good sized bowl. This is the biggest bowl I have here, so I'm just gonna have to work with it. But now I'm gonna add my water. Now in this bowl here, and don't mind those little specks of things in the water, that's just some pieces of thyme that fell into the water here. But this water here is water that's left behind from me boiling the codfish. And if you taste that water, it has a lot of flavor in it that's left behind from boiling the fish. So I'm just using some of that water in my mixture here. But do be careful that the water is not too salty, or otherwise you're going to wind up with very, very salty fritters, and you don't want that. If you are, you know, watching your salt intake, I would recommend not doing this and just using fresh water. Fresh tap water or spring water. But I have already ensured that, you know, this is not too salty, so it's totally fine. And you're just gonna add enough water to where this has sort of like a pancake mix, a pancake batter consistency to it, okay? With the exception of all the lumps that are in here. So I'm just mixing everything together. And I'm gonna need a little more water. So let me just throw the rest of this in here. And now I'm going to grab my black pepper and my adobo. Okay. And my cayenne pepper. At this point, if you want to, you know, kind of stick your finger in the batter, well, make it as long as your hands are clean, or just, you know, take the spoon, wipe a little bit on your finger here, give it a taste, make sure it's not too salty, kind of feel out and see what else it might need to make it pop. All right, and that will kind of assist you in knowing, you know, what other powdered seasonings or herbs or other spices you might want to add to this. Okay, so I'm just gonna give it a little bit of black pepper. And this is seasoning. I'm just seasoning to taste, okay? And I'm still, even though I'm putting cayenne pepper on this, I'm still gonna add my Scotch bonnet. I'm not a, you know, I'm a fan of heat, so. But if you're not a fan of heat, you can feel free to omit the cayenne pepper. We won't hold it against you. A little more black pepper. Alright, now I think this consistency I have going here is just perfect, okay? You don't want this to be too runny. Not that it's you know, anything particularly wrong if it is a little runny. You know, if that's your preference, fine, but traditionally this is the type of consistency you're looking for. Alright, so I'm gonna turn the stove on now, get my pan ready, put some oil in there, get it nice and hot, and then we're gonna transition over to the cooking process. One thing, I didn't add my country pepper yet, my Scotch bonnet, so let me just do that. Let me just cut off a few little pieces off of this. Alright, I don't want too much of this, but I don't know, codfish fritters just, they're not as enjoyable if they don't have heat to me. Okay, so I'm just chopping up my Scotch bonnet pepper here. I'm just gonna grab that, toss it in. All right, just mix that up. All right, this is looking really great. I did mention the adobo. Let me go grab that. So I put adobo seasoning on just about everything. I'm gonna put just a tad, since I have just the right amount of saltiness that I want for this already. You know, adobo has salt in it, so I don't want to get too carried away with the saltiness. Alright, so now give it a taste. Good. It's ready to cook. Alright guys, so I'm going to move over to the stove and we'll continue on from there. Okay guys, so right now I have a pan here with my oil, and the pan is nice and hot. So I'm going to go ahead now and start to place the batter into the pan, right? 1 scoop at a time. Now I like to use sorry if everything's out of view here, but I like to use a ice cream scoop, okay, for my fritters. I don't like my fritters too flat, you know, too smoothed out. I like when they're nice and chunky and crunchy. So I tend to get a really good effect similar to that when I use the ice cream scoop. So just dip right on into your batter. Get a nice helping, a nice heaping of the batter into the scooper, and just place it in the oil. 1 scoop is all you need, all right? And you're gonna just do that until you get as many as you want into the pan. I should be able to fit a few more in here. And these are nice, big, chunky fritters I have going here. I'm just making a little more room in the pan. If you don't want your, you know, individual fritters to be as big as this, you know, just use a half a scoop. You don't have to use the whole scoop. And this is starting to smell really, really nice. I smell everything. I smell the black pepper, the adobo, the saltfish. Hold on, I have a bone here. Okay. And one little tip I'll give you, if you really want to enhance the flavor of your fritters, one thing you can do is add a little butter to the oil before you place them in the pan. And another thing I've seen my mom do, which really is a nice enhancement as well, is adding curry seasoning to your fritters, to your codfish fritters. There's really so many, you know, different avenues you can take with regard to fritters, you know, to sort of customize them to your specific liking. Okay, so I'm just showing you how it looks. Sometimes what you can do is kind of stir the oil around and let it kind of drizzle over the top of each fritter. Oh, actually I have room for one more in the middle right there. So I'm just gonna pop one more in there. Ooh, smells so good, you guys. If you've never had fritters before, you're gonna love these. I'm gonna fry these, okay? You wanna fry them until they're golden brown on each side, okay? So just fry these till they're nice and golden brown, light brown, medium brown. Any one of those two options should be good. You're gonna do that on each side and you're good to go. These take about anywhere from maybe 3 to 4 minutes on each side. 5 minutes top. 5 minutes tops, depending on, you know, how high you have your flame. So I have like a medium flame going here. So I'm gonna give this about 4 minutes or so on this side, and then I'm gonna flip them on the other side. When everything's done, I'll show you guys how it looks. Okay, so here we are. Alright, I've flipped the fritters. They're golden brown on each side. And I flipped them a few times. And the reason for that is because obviously the outside of the fritter is going to cook very quickly. But inside, you know, you have the raw dough. So you want to flip them a couple of times in order to let the dough cook thoroughly throughout. So, you know, I flipped them once and then maybe a second time. And the other thing is, as you're cooking them, you want to gently press on the center of each fritter. And what that's doing is just releasing some of the, you know, the wetness or the water, the moisture out of the fritter, and letting it disintegrate into the oil, which will, you know, help it to help the inside of the fritter to continuously cook and just expel all that excess wetness from the fritter. So right now I'm happy with the way these turned out. I'm just gonna plate them in my plate here, which is lined with a sheet of paper towel. Alright, just drain off the excess oil and pop them in a serving plate. These are looking absolutely scrumptious, and this is a great snack for any time of the day. Alright, so here they are, guys. All done. Bon appetit. What I'm going to do, and I've never done this before, but what I decided to do is I'm going to make some guacamole. But I'm not going to put any like onions and peppers and garlic and all that stuff. I'm just going to season this with a little black pepper and a little salt. And I'm just going to dip my fritter in here and munch on it just like that. So like I said, I've never done that before, but I thought it would be a nice healthier component to sort of balance this meal out. So feel free to give that a try as well, guys. But until next time, I'll see you guys and catch you in the next video. Delicious.